Perhaps you've heard about the Shed, the sports, hospitality, and entertainment district that the city and the province is pursuing for downtown Winnipeg. To break it all down for us, I'm standing here with Bartley Kives, Free Press reporter. Bart, what is this all about?
Well, a shed is really just a concept right now. Centre Venture, Winnipeg's downtown development agency, is thinking about the idea of a sports, hospitality, and entertainment district for downtown Winnipeg. Well, what that means is not to create necessarily new things, to take what's already here and declare an 11-block zone. We're here by the Burton Cummings Theatre. It's where Burton Cummings lives. No, I'm just kidding. It's where Burton Cummings has performed, named after him a few years ago. But the dealio is, you attach this MTS Centre, Winnipeg Convention Centre, and a few other areas, and you declare it something called a tax increment financing zone, or TIF zone.
And so a TIF zone would be?
Well, tax increment financing is a complicated mechanism, but I'll just break it down simply. You take an area that is either blighted or underdeveloped. If you're a property developer, or owner rather, in there, and you improve your property, you get hit with the higher taxes that result from a higher property tax assessment. But the city turns around and says, you know what, let's take that extra money you pay and let's do something else with it. So for the downtown housing incentives, that money is actually given back to the developers as a grant. In this shed, they're talking about using some of that money, not giving it back to the developers, but spending that money on improving the immediate area.
All right, so what are some of the main, I guess, buildings that are encompassed by this shed?
Primary building is the MTS Centre.
Of course, the MTS Centre at the corner of Portage Avenue and Donald in downtown Winnipeg.
MTS Centre, built in 2004, one of the busiest concert entertainment venues in North America, home to the Manitoba Moose, owned by True North Sports and Entertainment primarily, and they are owned by the Chipman family of Winnipeg. Chipman family also owns something called the Longboat Development Corporation, and they are working on an entirely different project right across the street.
All right, and so what can we expect to see happening there?
Well, what you see right now is the MTS Exhibition Centre. This building is owned by Centre Venture. A building nearby is owned by the Forks North Portage Partnership, and Longboat owns 3 other buildings on this block. Altogether, they're assembling land for a large commercial development that could include a new hotel, a commercial building with retail and office space, and possibly a 400 to 500 stall parkade.
So Bartley, what else does this sports, hospitality, and entertainment district encompass?
Well, another thing right nearby is the Metropolitan Theatre.
And so by the Metropolitan Theatre, you mean that boarded up building over there?
That's correct. Metropolitan Theatre, owned by the Canadians Corporation, the Canada Corporation, the hotel chain. They purchased it a couple of years ago from Centre Venture, and they have been talking about fixing it up. They haven't done so yet. They've done a little bit of exterior and interior work, and they're waiting for, well, the confirmation of funds from various levels of governments to help convert this into a building that will actually be in use. So this would be yet another component in the sports, hospitality, and entertainment district. Along with MTS Centre, though, the other huge major component is the Winnipeg Convention Centre. When it was built, it was one of the biggest, actually the biggest convention centre of its kind in Canada. Now, it's in competition with many other convention centres across Canada. And it wants to build and expand across the street right over here to encompass the area that around it, but it needs a means of doing that. How does this fit into the whole pie? Well, it's possible some of the funds could be redirected into the convention center.
So how different could this downtown look, say 10 years from now, 15 years from now, if this shed and the TIF go through?
I think the shed and the TIF are a great idea, and what it might do is improve this immediate area. However, let's go big picture here. The key to downtown Winnipeg's health is always more housing, more people living here. Without people living downtown, you don't get the businesses that come to serve those people. Downtown Winnipeg is immense. It is very, very large for a city of approximately 700,000. Without more housing, well, you don't really have a thriving downtown. So while this shed is great for this immediate area, and while the work that Centre Venture has been doing on Main Street is great for Main Street, the reality is downtown doesn't work unless downtown becomes more dense, and that is a much bigger ball of wax.
All right, Mr. Bartley Kives, thank you again for unleashing your wealth of knowledge for our
Tanya Cohut, my pleasure.
Thank you so much for watching. For the Winnipeg Free Press, I'm Tanya Cohut.